I got Dungeon Drop because I thought it would be a fun game to play with one of my kids, and the mechanisms looked sort of interesting and different, and it seemed kid friendly. The art is cool for kids. And it turned out to be a big flop with her for reasons that I might talk about at the end of the video, and I get. And I put it away, and I just took it out a little while ago because I felt like I could maybe do something with the game to make it more interesting for me to play since she wasn't going to be playing it with me. And I present here a version, we'll call it a work in progress, of my Party of Four Dungeon Drop Adventure solo rules. You can find the file for this on BGG, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay, we're looking here at the initial setup, and I'll just walk through a little bit about what you're seeing. This is the teamwork card, and I've got it set to turn 1, and as I mentioned, this variant goes up to 6 turns. I have tested it out a little bit at 7 turns and 5 turns. I think 6 is right, but hard to say a little bit. These are the huge monster cards. Now, it's just coincidence that I randomly picked the dragon to drop with the original dungeon. So here's the dragon. It doesn't need to be the dragon. So you will randomize these cards and turn one over at the start before you are dropping your dungeon. And then whatever it is, you'll place that in the bag with the smaller cubes that you initially drop. Again, you're going to need to rid the dungeon of at least 3 huge monsters to win the game as part of the conditions. The second set of conditions are these goals here, these co-op goals. You begin by revealing 4 of them, but in this variant, you need to complete 6 of them. And you can cycle through them per the regular rules if you don't like what you got, etc. But 6 of them need to be completed within 6 rounds. Here is the party of 4, and I keep out the skills because you're going to be leveling up a lot in this variant, hopefully, and you'll be pulling your skills from this pile randomly. Here are the spells in the bag. As mentioned at the outset of the game, you will be pulling in, I think it's off camera here, but one of the spells got dropped randomly with the initial dungeon, so you'll be pulling in one there, and you'll be taking another random spell from this bag to put it into the box or the bag that you'll be using for your draw as you go through the game and draw 3 cubes for each character during each round. So you'll have 1 spell there, and then the other spells can be purchased using 5 gold per the variant rules. I think that's it for the setup in terms of anything that's different. What I've got up here are some little sort of skeleton items. I'm using skeletons in this game as well, and I've replaced the cubes with these little skeleton heads. And then I use the meeples to indicate when a goal has been completed. So when a goal has been completed, I'll put a meeple on top of it and kind of move it out of the way and cycle through just so I know how many where I stand. And then the last thing that I do is I replace the black staircase cube with something a little bit more distinctive. This is a raised cube with a star on it, and I put that in the initial drop bag so that I can easily see where my staircase is, because knowing when you need to redrop your entire dungeon, in this variant, you don't need to go to a next round when you do it. You can do it at any time, but sort of knowing at the outset, are you going to be able to do that? Will you have to manipulate cubes in order to do that is key. So I like to differentiate the staircase quite clearly when I'm looking at the dungeon. And so I make it that star cube. And I think that is it for the setup. These cute little sort of wooden character meeples aren't used on a score track. When I take a turn with a character, I lay them down flat to indicate that the character has gone that turn, because it can get a little confusing to remember whose turn it is. Since, again, in this variant, you are starting the turn by dropping in 3 larger cubes and then deciding which character to act based on the layout of the dungeon. So there's a little bit more planning and strategy involved in that regard, because based on what you're seeing in the dungeon, you decide which character is going to act. And thematically, that's kind of reflective of the party kind of crawling around the dungeon, finding a new place, and then seeing who is best positioned to take action in that spot. All right, so I want to give an update where we are. We're about to take turn 3 or go to round 3 in the game. And we've been pretty good so far. We got rid of the dragon, I believe, in round 1, and we got rid of, or we completed already 1, 2, 3 goals, and we have the capacity to complete this goal here because I was able at the end of the last round to rearrange a room to meet the conditions, actually exceed the conditions of the Grizzly Guard room. So somebody's going to be able to do this goal, which will be 1, 2, 3, 4 goals completed. The problem is we're going to be pulling in now at the beginning of the round, we're going to be bringing in another huge monster. So we will take the next huge monster under here and drop it in, and then activate this ability as well as that huge monster's ability and continue on. We're accumulating some wounds here along the way, but I'm feeling pretty good about things, although this is the beginning of, the third round of the game, and it's only going to go to 6. So the fact that we got an early jump on this quest, I think, right out of the gate, practically, some things lined up nicely that got us to that place. So the first thing to do to start the round is we're going to get a new huge monster in, and it's this fellow. This is bad. This is bad because we could potentially lose some things to do. So what we need to do is we need to drop this and hope that the next time we drop it. So we dropped it, but now we have to activate its ability, which is going to cause us to re-drop it again. Okay, good. So it didn't land face up, so we're good on that, but that's a bad ability, and it has 10 health, or it does 10 damage rather, so that's not great. And what we also need to do now is we still have this guy here, so we have to fulfill this. All heroes redrop 1 small monster from their kill over him, if we have any, and we just dropped him in, so we don't, actually nobody has any, so that doesn't have an impact. So now we've got the 2 huge monsters here, and we're going to set out to, we will refresh all of our characters, showing that they are active, and most of them have most of their abilities because we did redrop the dungeon recently to go to another level. Now the staircase, unfortunately, has landed here, so I'm going to need to use the ability of this character here to redrop all these cubes outside of the dungeon boundary. And I feel like I should do that now because I want to make sure that the staircase is going to end up in a room. And if it isn't, I'm going to put it in a room. So I will, in my mind, I'm deciding that I'm going to go with this character, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the 3 cubes to be dropped, and here they are, and we will we'll drop them over here, and we'll get going. Now, having said that, my priority is going to be to get this staircase back in the dungeon. I notice that this is the Arch Lich, and I really want to get rid of it, and I notice I can do this with the Shapeshifter. He's only got 1 health left, but he does have this magic shield, which can allow him to ignore all damage from 1 monster. And I see I can make a room here that just has the Arch Lich in it. I think that is a legal room. I think this is not in the way as I see it. Well, I guess it would have to be that. Yep. It would just have to be this for that room. I guess I don't think the gold cube's going to be in there. It's a little So I can do that with excluding this goblin. I can just do that excluding the goblin, the way that's set up. And the ability of his, I don't want to waste this ability just yet because I don't really need it. What I'm going to do, so I'm going to be using this magic shield, and I'm going to elect a fellowship. I'm going to elect a fellowship ability to give away one of my treasures. He's got a key. Nobody has a chest. He's got a key of gold and a pink cube. Now, doing this, nothing really makes sense. I'm simply going to give this pink cube over to the dwarf. So the dwarf has 2 pink cubes. I do this partially knowing that there is at least some goal that could come up to collect pink gems. I don't know that I'm going to get that, but I need to do something with him. And then for his looting, he is going to end up looting this room. And all he's going to get from that actually is just to carve out, as we showed, this arch lich. And rather than having to take any damage from it, he's going to consume his magic shield and destroy the arch lich. So we now have destroyed 2 of the 3 huge monsters that we need to get rid of for this variant in the game. Now, bear in mind, if this round ends before this guy is eliminated, which it probably will, another one is going to come out. So we're going to end up with 2 more ones that we have to kill, and that will continue to happen until we have 3 killed. And as mentioned, the ability of this one is pretty dire if he lands face up, because then everybody loses one of their skill cards. However, for the time being, that was a good turn, I think, and a lucky layout here that we were able to do that. Then now I think the next thing I want to focus on probably is getting this staircase into the dungeon. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to draw our 3 cubes, and here they are. And we will drop them. We've got 2 pillars and a chest. We're going to drop them. We'll just drop them over here. And now I am going to activate this character to use this ability here to redrop all the cubes outside of the dungeon boundary. And I'll show you that in addition to the staircase, I mentioned in the rules that I replace my staircase with something that's very visible as such, so I always know where it is. This clear cube that's outside the dungeon is going to become important, as we'll see in a minute. And we've got a goblin, a little gold, a forbidden pillar, and I guess this treasure chest as well. So these are the things that we're redropping. Now, we note here that Diamond Doorway is one of our goals. We are slowly working our way toward that goal with this character here. It's not her turn right now, but she's got 3 clear gems already, and she needs a total of 5. And now we have 1 in our hand that we're dropping. So it would be really great if I could get that into a dungeon here that this character could loot and then possibly use a fellowship move next turn to give it to that character. Another clear one is here, but that's not in a configuration that's going to work. So I'm going to do my drop over here and hope for the best. And in fact, that does look like it's right in a dungeon here that we could do. So I think even though that's all we're going to get for that, and I will write the thing there, that's what we're going to do. We're going to have her loot that dungeon. All she's going to get is this clear gem, but I think it's worth it to secure that so that next time she can give it over to here, and then we'll be just 1 away from that goal. So she's going to come back. She completed her turn, and now we have 2 more characters to go for this round. And I just noticed I need to make a correction. I usually put the meeple on the goal to indicate it was completed, and I didn't do that. And so actually we're only showing 3 goals here that are available. So I need to draw in a new one, and that's good because we want to see what we can do. So draw in this gold treasure trove. 5 gold or 8 gold. That's going to be tough because we've already, it's late in the game. I don't know how easy that's going to be to collect. Certainly not in one fell swoop. We may have to ultimately get rid of that. Right now, I'm showing very little gold in the dungeon. There's this piece here and this piece there. I don't know about that one. But in any case, we needed to show that there. And now to drop some more, we'll drop some more out of the bag, and then we'll decide which of our 2 characters is going to remain. Here we go. And we got 1 gold there, and a key, and a troll. And we'll try to drop the gold near the gold. I don't know if that's going to, that never works out for me. We're not going to be able to pick up both of those pieces together. We could probably pick up the one. Don't know if it's worth it, but let me give a think to the abilities here. And I'm not even trying to deal with this cube fully huge monster here because, first of all, I can't get it into a dungeon, and second of all, nobody's going to be able to combat it right now with what we've got. I'm realizing that I completely forgot about what I said at the beginning of this turn here, that I had been setting up this room to loot to complete one of the Grizzly Guard Room quests. The problem is this is going to deal 2, 4, 5 damage. It does come with armor, but you can't, I don't think you can put the armor on to mitigate the damage when you're picking it up. And nobody can take 5 damage here. I mean, she'll be out, or he'll be out if he takes 5 damage. He doesn't have anything yet. So I can't quite do that. And that's a real bummer. That is a real bummer. I certainly can't do that there either. But I do need to remember to focus on that, because that would be my 5th goal completed, and I only need to complete 6 goals. So it's possible, but I need to be able to absorb that kind of damage. And I should probably focus the dwarf here. He's got a key. I think I should focus him on getting perhaps this treasure chest, which is just sitting right here all by itself, but you never know what that could yield. So perhaps I will do that. And it says reveal 2 random cubes from the box, then return them. You may collect 1 cube of either type. I'll do that, and I will see what we get here. I mean, this is just, who knows. So we got a gold and a clear. I wish, yeah, I get this clear. I'm going to pick up this clear. As this skill. That actually worked out really well. So now, in fact, we will be able eventually to complete that other, this diamond doorway also. So that would be, let's see, we got 1, 2, 3 completed, 4, 5. So we know we can complete 5 of them, at least by turn 5, I think. And now the dwarf has to decide what room he's going to loot. I think I decided that it would make sense simply to try to get, it's a pretty simple, I think that's, well, is that a room? Is that treasure chest in this room? Yes, it is. It is indeed in that room. So we're going to just take this treasure chest, and the way the treasure chest works is when you pick it up, if you have the key, you can roll it, or you can roll a d6. I have my little d6 here that I use to roll the d6 to see what's in the treasure chest, which represents opening up. I can tell you right now, that's nothing. So all I discovered was dust and bones in this treasure chest. So that comes out of the game. That was a big bust. However, I did get the clear cube, which I'm going to be able to gift to my Beastmaster Ishim next turn and get her on the way toward completing that goal. And so finally, we're going to make our last draw for this third round of the game. And these are the cubes that we drew. Ooh, I like that one. And we'll just drop them over here and take a look and see what we want to do with her. She can rune read, count 1 gem as a pillar. She can flick small monster and collect the first treasure it hits. My experience in flicking is pretty poor. So let's give a look and see what she's going to do. All right, I think this one's pretty obvious for me. So she's going to use a gem as a pillar and as her skill, and then what she's going to do is she's going to use, oh, you know what? That's not a gem. I realized I was going to make this room. This is an relic that she could level up with, but that's not a gem, is it? It is not. It's a health potion. It's a consumable. All right, I got to think a bit more. All right, I'm not going to do this because I need that room to be different. So I'm going to do this. Flick 1 small monster, collect the first treasure it hits, and it's not going to be. I don't have high hopes here, but I'll attempt to flick this to the gold. Let's see, and we did. Okay. So we collect that gold, and now for her loot phase, we are going to go back here, and we're going to just simply use this room here. And in this room here, she's going to collect, that's going to allow her to level up, and that is going to be a health potion, a healing potion, which she's going to use, and hopefully as she uses that, or after she uses that, she will have the ability to deal with that Grizzly Guard room that we've been talking about. So per the variant rules, this is another relic, and it can be turned in for a leveling up skill. I have the pile of this off camera due to space, so now she also automatically levels up to the mage, and she can use this ability right away to reveal 2 random cubes from the box and return them. She may count 1 cube of either type as a pillar. Well, she's already looted, so I actually I have wondered in other games about this when this comes in like this, because I can't re-loot, I don't think. So we'll just give her this, and she now has that ability, and that is the end of her turn, and therefore that is the end of the round. So now we're moving to round 4. Where things stand is we have completed 1, 2, 3. We've still only completed 3 goals, but I know we are going to be able to complete the diamond doorway, and I know we're going to do the Grizzly Guard room. So that's going to be 5 definite, probably at the end of the 4th round. We've got to pull in another huge monster. We still have this one to deal with, and until we kill 1 more huge monster, because we only have 2 dead, the huge monsters are going to continue to populate the dungeon because we have not secured this yet enough from them. All right, so we have completed this game. This game ended in a loss, and I'll show you what happened. I did complete 6 goals, including this banished bestiary goal, which I realize is kind of inherent in the rules, the variant rules that I've created, because you're always going to end up with 3 huge monsters in a kill pile. You have to do that to win the game. So I'm not sure, I haven't addressed this in my rules. I'm not sure whether this should be pulled as a goal in the game, but I left it in, so it was almost like a cheat. But in any case, I obviously completed that, and I completed, well, I should say, if you win the game, you're obviously going to complete that. I did complete just the 6 goals. It doesn't really matter what they are. What happened was, and I also killed this evil eye that came out. I killed it right in the turn that it came out. I think it came out in turn 4. So what I ended up having was 3 huge monsters dead. I had the Archlich, the dragon from the first turn, and evil eye. The problem was I could not get rid of Cube Thulu. And I failed. You have to be able to deflect 10 damage for that. I just didn't get what I needed to do that. There was the molten shield somewhere. I can't remember where it is. I guess it's that. But that didn't come out until it was too late, because it came out in the last round, and I had no way of acquiring it and then having any more time to fight the monster with it. And I didn't have any other magic shield. So it was just a combination of, I don't want to say poor planning, because I think the shields were already consumed. It became an impossibility to win, basically, in terms of what I had left. Now, the other issue, you can see these skills turned over. The impact of madness from Cube Thulu did set in. So we all lost a skill at one point, and we were not able to regain that. In my dungeon here, I did have a leveling up cube that I could have tried to do. I did successfully with Ishim. When she lost one of her skills, I was able to do something to level her up. I think I used some cubes that I had, or gems that I had, but the problem was what she got as her new skill just wasn't going to help. And I'm not really sure that there are skills left that would have helped. Maybe there are. I don't know what I have left, and I don't remember enough what there are. There are some unclaimed treasures here, and I just don't think that, per my rules, there was much that could have happened. Maybe there was a spell I could have gotten to enable this defeat of this. But in any case, I basically had this huge monster out for the last couple of rounds and just could not find a way to defeat it, so we lost the game. As I said in the notes, or I don't know that I said this in the notes, but I feel like with having to defeat 3 huge monsters in 6 rounds and having to do 6 goals in 6 rounds, I feel like I win maybe 50% of the time, maybe slightly less. It's hard to say. I haven't played it so many times. But that's kind of what I was going for. I was going for a certainly no more than 50% win rate, maybe even slightly less. And that is the variant. So I look forward to getting people's opinions on it. One thing I didn't show visually at any rate, although it's in the rules, is these are the cubes that you take out when you substitute the forbidden pillars for them. And these are the cubes that then become artifacts that you roll on the artifact table for. I don't know, I can't remember whether this was shown in the video, but that's one big rules change. And of course, here's an example of a spell that was in the dungeon. So my goal, as I said, in the variant was to take what is a unique style of gameplay with a little bit of physicality with the flicking and obviously the dropping and the randomness and everything else, and make better use, at least better for me, use of the various elements that you get. So you have choices about, are you going to spend your gold on something? Are you going to save it because you might need it for a quest? Do you gift something to somebody for their use, etc., to try to make it more actually cooperative and decision-based throughout. As I said, in this particular game, certainly the last round was just a wash because it was clear I couldn't win. And at a certain point in the 5th round, I think that became clear too. But the goal obviously is to maintain choice as much as possible throughout the 6 rounds of the game, because you want to feel like you're actively playing it. These, by the way, are what I used for the skeletons, and I follow the skeleton rules there, but that's not necessary for the variant. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to comments about the variant, and I would love to hear what people think after they play it.